Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Playmates TMNT Classics Rocksteady figure. Pretty cool figure, just like Bebop, but there are some things I need to point out for you in this review, so stay tuned and pay attention. First thing I want to look at is he does have a base just like all the other ones, although just like Bebop, it does not have any of the black wash in there to make it look nice and fancy, like the Turtles ones actually. So there's a comparison between Leo's and Rocksteady's. Very cheap looking without that wash. Disappointing. Just do a quick size comparison. There's Leo, there's Rocksteady, same height. So Rocksteady should definitely, I think anyway, be bigger than the Turtles. Bebop as well. They don't look right being the same size. They actually look smaller because they don't have the shells or anything, so it's kind of disappointing. I don't care for that. And then just for comparative purposes, Bebop is definitely thicker, but I don't know, they're close enough to the same height where we'll call it the helmet and the mohawk, whatever, give or take. So I don't know, I think they should be probably a little bigger. And then just in case you didn't see the other ones, I'll give you an actual measurement. 6 1/4 inches to the top of the helmet, which is removable, which is unnecessary. You're probably never going to display him without the helmet, and it falls off rather easily, so they should have just sculpted it on and painted it, and it would have been much nicer looking. Okay, he also comes with his machete. Decent sculpt on the machete, no paintwork at all. And then he has his rifle here. Decent sculpt work again, but no paint. There's a hole in the bottom here. No idea what that's for. If they just left it hollow to make it cheaper or lighter maybe. Could be that. Don't know. Alright, and there goes the helmet again. We'll leave it off for the sake of the review. So my biggest problem with this guy is, while he is definitely reminiscent of the original character in the show, which he's based on, he definitely doesn't look very much like him. I mean, not in the small details, so that's disappointing. He's still a cool figure and definitely a nice addition to the Turtle figures, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking for a show-accurate figure, this guy's probably not going to do it for you. Especially in the paint scheme of the pants, that's goofy looking. They didn't paint his neck. They sculpted it, it looks like, or at least they kind of halfway sculpted the seam, or the neck piece, where his tank top ends, but then they carried up the tan color all the way up to his head. And as far as I know, tank tops don't go like that. And the prototype had gray down around the neck, so that's disappointing. Last thing that was a big problem for me is, if you look at this, the legs look normal, right? The calf sticks out, the shin goes straight down. That's not how he comes. I had to take the legs apart because when you get the figure, obviously the feet are on a swivel, so that part's fine, but this part is facing forward. So in order to get him to stand, you have to have the knee fully flexed forward just to get the boot to go straight. So you have to heat the legs up and pop these off. And after I got the figure and saw that, I went back and looked at Chartemus's review. He had the same problem as mine, so they must be making them that way. The part that sticks away from the joint, you see how it's kind of like triangle shaped? That should be in the back, not the front, and that allows for him to stand much more naturally since there's no ankle articulation. So you're going to need to fix that for yourself unless they do some sort of running change. Alright, let's look at the articulation. The head's on a ball peg, up and down a little bit, really a little bit of a side to side, and then it's got kind of like that rotation like Rocksteady or like Bebop. It's not nearly as bad. I think he's probably a little bit better in that regard. And the sculpt on his face, again, they did a really good job sculpting it. It just doesn't quite look that accurate, but it's still pretty awesome. Again, the sculpt work and paint work on the body, aside from the neck and the color of the pants, it's good. And I really don't have too many complaints. Ball hinge shoulder, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow that actually works, unlike Bebop's. He's got the swivel at the wrist. His little bracelet thing swivels too, though I suspect that's just because it's an add-on piece. He does have a hinge at the wrist on both sides. The diaphragm joint works a little bit better. He's got much more of a swivel for sure. And again, very limited as an ab crunch or side to side. Same type of hips, pretty much same limitations as Bebop. Nothing very good there. Double jointed knees, which are fine, but since he doesn't have posable ankles, you can't really get too much posing done with the lower half of this figure at all. Again, the boots swivel, and even once you fix him, his feet are like that. So you're going to have him with a pretty wide stance to get his feet flat. Of course, if you have him the way the factory gives him to you, which has the feet like this, when they're facing forward, you know, when this piece is facing the other way, his feet are flat, but you have to flex his knees pretty much like that to get him to stand properly. So I think it's definitely worth fixing, even though his feet are a little angled. It's definitely a much better look than having his knees bent like that. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.